You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is my ranking for each and every major character from House of the Dragon Season 2. Now, if you're just stumbling on this live stream and you're not already subscribed, or if you're watching the playback, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. So we are back after another season of House of the Dragon, and we've already ranked the dragons that made an appearance this season. So if you haven't checked that out yet, go check it out. See which dragon I put at number 1. But now it's time to talk about the people. So I am so excited to get into this ranking. I ended up with a total of 28 characters, which is actually up a little bit from season 1. I see that Pat has already made his number 1 known. Hi, Luke. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I'm excited to get into this character ranking. So you know I can be long-winded. So I better just get started or we'll be here all day for 28 characters. So just a reminder, this is only my opinion, just how much I liked the characters. Not only how much I like the character, but combining that with what they had to do this season, how much they were even in the show. When they were in the show, did they just stand there? Did they have like breakout moments? What was going on? So that's kind of how I formulated my own ranking. I look forward to seeing everybody else's ranking as we go along. And we'll see where Mr. Simon Strong ends up, Pat. But he is definitely not in at last place. Number 28, I have Kristen Cole. That's right. Last is Crispy, Mr. Crispin. I was talking to my co-hosts over at Throne Watch about this, Pat and Hannah. Kristen is just an annoyance. He is a villain that I don't want to see on screen. Like, I don't want to spend any time with him. He just gets on my nerves. He's an incel. And honestly, this season, he like ruined his one saving grace, and that was that he was pretty. He was very attractive. And now he chopped off that hair and has that wretched ass little haircut. So he's not even like the prettiest man on screen anymore. So what do you have going for you, Kristen? They're trying to do this arc where they somewhat redeem him. No, no. I don't want to hear it. I just want to see him gone already. Not a villain that's so much fun to hate, just a villain I hate. At number 27, I have Sir Alfred Broom. That's right. This dirty old broomstick really has been a thorn in Queen Rhaenyra's side since being on her council. Really, her entire small council have mostly been trash, all those old men on there. And she entrusted Broom to go and bring Damon to heel in Harrenhal. He goes over there and betrays her just like that. He's called a traitor by the werewood, by Harrenhal's ghosts, if you will. And instantly it's like, we need a king, forget Rhaenyra. So I don't like that. I don't like that behavior. And he just isn't a very interesting character otherwise. So, Broomstick, we got our eyes on you moving forward. Yeah, I agree. It's basically like the Valerian family is the best part of her council, whether it be Rhaenys or Corlys. Everybody else on that council continues to just be trash. So no wonder she continues to turn to somebody that's not even on the council proper. All right, at number 26, I have Larys Strong, the first Strong on this list. Larys, I just don't like him either. He's more fun, though, to be around than Crispin is, for sure. He's actually making moves, he's making interesting discussions, he's moving things along in significant ways. Whereas, particularly this season, someone like Crispin has not really moved the plot along like he did in season 1. So, Larys at least can be an interesting character in his scheming. But my God, do I dislike this man. I want him dead. He just ruined the whole plan of episode 8. Like, he just ended the season by ruining everything, sneaking Aegon out of the capital. Once more, just complete disaster. He was getting roasted this season by people, sneaking around. I can't stand him really at all. So, Clubfoot, you're down at number 26. All right. At number 25, we return to Queen Rhaenyra's small council with Lord Celtigar. This is the old man that she slapped. That's why he's above some of these other ones, because he was part of like one of my favorite scenes of the whole show. I know some people are like, oh my God, she's slapping her small council in Plainview. He deserved it. He needed to get slapped. And honestly, she should have slapped Broomstick too. But Celtigar, again, I don't know. He seems loyal, but what else? He's been annoying. He's been undermining Rhaenyra left, right, and center. People are like, "Oh, he's loyal. She shouldn't be doing that to her loyal advisors." If he's so loyal, why does he undermine her every chance he gets? So yeah, her small council really gets on my nerves. Nikita, hi. Thank you so much for dropping in. Larys' scene with Aegon in episode 6 was one of the best scenes in this season. He definitely has had really good scenes. The actor's doing a fantastic job for Larys. I definitely agree. I also loved Larys' scene with Aemond in the small council chamber, but that added points to Aemond, not really Larys. But yes, I think his scenes, Aegon also has, I mean, that actor is amazing. He's been killing it. So, all right. At number 24, I have Jane Eyre. Now, this is partially book reader Larry getting in the way. They really changed her character, and I don't see the point of why they changed her character. In the book, she's like very pro female and wholeheartedly basically supports Queen Rhaenyra's claim. And in the show, we've only seen her be like a passive aggressive, like snot to Rhaena. And that was like her whole character in this season. Part of it was understandable that she didn't get big dragons, but also it was like, what does Rhaena have to do with that, ma'am? I don't know. I didn't really love the direction they went with Jane Eyre. It was kind of disappointing, actually. So we'll see. She should be in the show more, at least. She should return. But as of now, I don't know. I didn't like how they decided to characterize her in season 2. At number 23, I have Tyland Lannister. Now, I'm only putting him. His brother did appear this season, Jason, but that buffoon, I don't know, was carrying lions around in the battlefield. He didn't really do anything. So we're only going to talk about Tyland here today. Yeah, he had fine moments. He's at least kind of funny in his stupidity. I enjoyed seeing him rolling around in the mud to earn the respect of this woman. Yeah, I don't know. Tyland, he was better this season for me than he was in season 1. That's for sure. But once again, he's an advisor on the Greens. So how much can I really like him? And he's a Lannister. Come on now. All right. At number 22, I have Aemond Targaryen. Oh, sorry, Pat. We're at 22, and your one-eyed demon has shown up. So Aemond makes it above some of our other villainous Team Greens, because once again, he's at least making interesting choices. He's a big part of the plot. He's doing things. And like I said, he read Larys strong to filth in that episode, and I lived for it. But he continues to kill characters I love, and he has been an actually terrible leader ever since he has become King Regent. I mean, he's made most all worse decisions he could make in the position. The only good decision he made was cutting down the rat catchers that were hanging up there. Everything else about Aemond this season has just been a big no. I was so happy to see him, get scared and run away from Dragonstone. But then, episode 8, he went back to just burning towns to the ground for no reason. And I think, the problem with Miss Vagar, like I said in my dragon ranking, sometimes she seems tired, and that's when I connect with the old woman best, when she's just like tired in the field. But then in like episode 8, and even episode 7, and whenever she's basically in the sky, that old hag is ready to burn things alive. So I never know if it's like Amond sometimes or Vagar deciding she wants to just keep moving. But regardless, they are the war criminal duo of House of the Dragon, clearly. But you know what? He gave us our only like male full frontal nudity so far. So you got to give him some points for that too, I guess. Just not enough to see him make it into the top 20. Hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, Pat. I'm sorry. Eamon seems like a one-dimensional villain this season. Yeah, I think we started with him with the whole bullying again to be a little bit more dynamic. And then once he became the regent, he has just been tunnel vision terrible. But to be fair, that's how I read him in the book. So I'm not mad that he's that, because that's how I've always viewed Aemond from the beginning. All right. So moving on to number 21. I have Aegon Targaryen, his brother. The usurper himself is at number 21. Ah, putting him above Aemond comes down to the simple fact that Aemond in the throne literally makes me wish Aegon was still in the throne. So there we go. I miss Aegon thanks to Aemond. So yeah, I don't know. Aegon this season has had fun and funny-ish moments. He has also gotten read to filth and got put in his place by his mother and by others. He made a really stupid decision flying Sunfire to battle and should have been killed in that battle, to be honest. But seeing that moment with Sunfire and him was actually so cute that I couldn't help but stan it just a little bit. And then also, ever since he's been like hunted by his brother, I don't know, it's helped his character a little bit. Now, in saying all of that, he is still a sexual assaulter piece of garbage who should have burned and should be dead, and I wish was no longer alive. He just seems like the slightly better alternative currently. Plus, he did have some amazing scenes, some really wonderfully acted scenes all season long. But now he's gonna run amok yet again because he escaped before Rhaenyra takes over King's Landing, thanks to Alicent. So we love that for us. Oop, not not Kid Tully. All right, Casey. Oh, not this. I ride with Aegon. He's healing quite nicely. All right. I mean, he is healing a little bit too nicely. I'm like, all right. I mean, he looks terrible. Let's just be clear. He does look like Viserys when Viserys was about ready to bite the dust. But he's healing a lot faster than I thought he would. I know. Sunfire was so pure. My heart was broke when he got injured. That scene was wild. I talked about it in my dragon ranking, but I just like, even despite the fact that I hate his writer, I was like, Sunfire, escape. Throw Aegon off and run for your life, baby. Oh, when he was crying, it was too much. It was too much. Honestly, Sunfire helped Aegon this season in his ranking, I think. Because season 1, I was definitely not about Aegon, but he also was shown to be explicitly worse in season 1. Like, that's when we saw him with the kids and the fighting pits, and we learned about all his transgressions. He was sexually assaulting women. This season, we didn't see as much of that at the beginning. And then he got burnt and has been laid up in the bed all the rest of the season. So no top 20 for you, either of the usurping brother pair. All right. Kicking off our top 20, at number 20, I have Ulf the White. Ugh. Y'all, I couldn't stand this man. I didn't like him really. I mean, I thought he was okay when we saw him in the brothel because he was obviously Team Black, cheering on Rhaenyra, cheering on Jace. Oh my gosh, though, in episode 8, he was so insufferable. I could not handle Ulf at all. I He really killed Silverwing's spot in my dragon ranking because I don't understand. I didn't really like their bonding scene either. I didn't understand it really. So I was a bit confused watching that bonding scene between Ulf and Silverwing. And yeah, I don't know, that the way he behaved in episode 8 was really, really terrible to me. And yeah, so Ulf, I don't know. I'm waiting for somebody to feed you to a dragon. Honestly, like somebody burn this man. Get him out of here. Don't Silverwing escape. All right. So at number 19, a huge jump in the ranking from where I had him in season 1. I never thought I'd have him above so many others. At 19, I have Otto Hightower, the prisoner himself. Who has him imprisoned? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know who's got Otto right now. But what can I say? I was missing Otto Hightower. After he was excused as Hand of the King, I found myself saying, you know what? I think we need to bring Otto Hightower back. See, Crispin, this is how you craft a villain that you just love to hate. Yeah, I hate him, but he's also really entertaining. He's a great character on screen. Whenever he's on screen, Ray Fiennes is just or Rice Iphans, sorry, Rice Iphans is just so freaking amazing in the role. He steals the spotlight. That scene where he read Aegon and Kristen Cole to the ground. Oh, his best scene of the whole show. He literally was like, Aegon, do you really think your father on his deathbed wanted you to be king? I've made a great mistake. Much like his daughter Alicent, realizing mistakes were made. Rhaenyra should be here. We'd all be in a better position. But man, he just got them both good. Unfortunately, got himself dismissed in that case as well. But I always really loved his conversations, even when they were hypocritical, even when they did make me frustrated. And I mean, he's definitely a better hand to the king than old dumbass Crispin. So yeah, I miss Otto. I think the show actually was more electric when he was around. So I'll be interested to see who captured his old self and if he's coming back. I completely agree. Really, one of the best scenes of the entire season. It was so good. All right. At number 18, we have another Hightower. This time, Gwaine Hightower. Otto's son, Alicent's brother. I don't know, y'all. I started to really warm up to Gwaine. At first, I was a little bit worried. I was like, who is this pompous little boy on Team Green? I don't know about all this. But then I quickly learned he was just around to be a thorn in Kristen Cole's side. So anybody who hates Kristen and makes his life harder is automatically bumped up in my book. I don't know that he's canonically part of the Rainbow Mafia, but in my head canon, he definitely is. He's like a sassy little bottom running around here. But I thought his interactions with Alicent were really good, particularly that one where he spoke to her about about her son and gave her that insight about Daeron. I thought was actually really, really nice. I love seeing him pull a knife on Kristen and say, I'm going to kill your ass. So he was making dumb choices in his first couple episodes. He's a little bit overly arrogant, but I think he's actually been humbled since then and has turned to one of the best characters on Team Green. Hi, Joey. Thanks so much for stopping in. Trust and believe. Kristen Cole was quite literally the bottom. Gwaine is one of the only good guys in Team Green. Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying him. And I think they cast a perfect actor for the role. He's really killing it. So I've warmed up to Gwaine quite a bit over the course of the season. All right. At number 17, it was hard to place him. I have Hugh Hammer. So Hugh, we've gotten a lot of this season. We actually saw him early on asking Aegon for more supplies because they needed them. They had run out, and actually, by word, been granted those supplies, though they never came. And then we saw obviously his dynamic with his wife and with his daughter as they were struggling thanks to the blockade that Rhaenyra's side and the Velaryons had put up, blocking food from entering. Then the part that I think is good foreshadowing to what's under that nature came in the later parts of the season, and it was when we saw him shove that man to the ground and steal his food. Like, everybody's out here starving, Bish. Everybody's out here like dying. And he didn't care about anybody but his own damn self. We saw that his pride was really bubbling under with his dynamic with his wife after we learned that their daughter had died, which obviously was tragic. But part of it was his pride led to his daughter dying, as we saw, and then his pride on being a dragon rider really overpowered his connection with his own wife or being there for his own wife. So I think they've really kind of laid this seed where he's a lot more honorable than Ulf for sure right now. He seems outwardly to at least have some sense about him. But I think they've really laid a seed of something a little bit darker underneath for Hugh as well. But him claiming Vermithor was awesome, particularly with how everyone else was going. He got a lot of screen time this season. Oh yeah, as Pat says here, you kind of were like, especially if you didn't know the characters, you didn't know where we were going, you're like, why do we keep seeing this man specifically? Because Ulf we saw a couple times, but Hugh, we spent a lot of time with Hugh. But I think it crafted his arc quite nicely. All right, at number 16, I have Grand Maester Orwyle. This poor man is kind of just doing his job. I don't know. Every time Alicent or one of them tries to ask him a question, this man is trying to be as diplomatic as he possibly can so he's not like killed by Team Green. He's doing the best work he can. He's just observing. He's watching everything. He's seeing what's going on. He knows what Aemond has been up to with his brother, but he don't get in anybody's business. Grand Maester Orwyle is quite literally just there to mind his business and do his work. He stuck up for Alicent in that small council meeting. He was the only one who stuck up for her in that small council meeting. I just like him. I think he's a good guy in a sea of trash. So good on you, Grand Maester. You're definitely better than the Grand Maester we spent most of the Game of Thrones with. That's for sure. All right, so kicking off our top 15. We're already about halfway through. Look at that. At number 15, I have Rhaena Targaryen, the younger of Daemon's daughters with Laena. I enjoyed the arc overall we took with Rhaena this season. Her character gets to be very slight in the book. Once she gets to the Vale, she doesn't really do anything until the end of the Dance of Dragons. So they have kind of morphed her story with another characters. It's making her character a lot more interesting for sure. Um, what I don't like from Rhaena is the fact that she just ditched those children. That decision, I understand she's like obsessed with trying to get a dragon. So she went chasing after Sheep Stealer. She wanted to find this big dragon that's up here. But in doing so, she literally left like small, like itsy bitsy children all by themselves when that was like literally her task was to be the mother Rhaenyra couldn't be to these kids. And it's weird because it seemed like we were working toward her character, like, and she was preaching it to Viserys at one point, or not Viserys, Joffrey at one point, like preaching to him, all of us have a role to play, no matter how big or how small. And then she instantly went back on that once she saw a dragon could be had. So it's been good. She's a very sweet girl. She's a well-mannered girl. I enjoy her when she's on screen. But yeah, Raina girl. I think you may have just sown your own demise with the queen by literally just letting her kids go off into the sea by themselves and not going with them. All right, at number 14, I have Alice Rivers. So, Alice Rivers has been a really interesting character this season. The Witch of Harrenhal, if you will. I think she's been a lot of fun, just kind of like trolling Damon pretty much all season, popping up, showing him visions. There for a while, I've seen a lot of different reactors and people who watch the show who have been questioning if she was even real for most of the season. Because it seemed like she may have just been a spirit or a ghost, but thankfully, like Simon Strong refers to her a couple of times. I think other characters kind of acknowledge that she's in the room with us and not just part of Damon's imagination. Um, the part that I was confused about with Alice's character and what keeps her from moving up further is her like switch with Damon. I don't know. I don't know where that came from. She starts off her arc telling Damon like you're going to die in this castle. She poisons his ass or gives him some kind of crazy ass drink. And all season she's pretty combative with Damon, and up until the point where she decides to help him, I don't think he had really demonstrated a big change outwardly. And I get that she's obviously connected to his dreams and such as well, but I don't know. So I don't think they did a good enough job on her character establishing that switch to where she went from kind of antagonizing and trolling Damon to then helping him and killing off Lord Tully. I'm also not sure, this was a debate Pat and Hannah and I had. It seemed to me like they were alluding that Alice Rivers slept with Damon in episode 8. I don't too much love that either, if that was the case, but sure, I guess. So I don't know. I enjoyed Alice's character just in a vacuum, but as part of the larger story, it's going to also be very interesting to see where they go with her when she, meets new people next season. But as it is, Alice was a good character this season for me. So at number 13, I have Alan of Hull. So we've been spending a lot of time with Alan this season as well. I think we spent more time with Alan this season than Corley's had spent with Alan his entire life. So that's something. But I really liked Alan. I liked his portrayal. I think that shining moment he got in episode 8 really helped his character. I'm glad he got that moment with Corliss to give him what he needed to give him. I mean, Corliss desperately needed to hear that, and I was glad he got to do that. I also really enjoyed seeing him with his brother throughout the season. It was really cool to see that one of them got the white Targaryen hair or the white, Valerian hair that the Targaryens and Valerians have, and then the other has just the black hair. But seeing that to keep his identity concealed, that's why he shaves his head bald, was just a really quick but good moment of like lore building for Alan that I enjoyed. I am excited to see what he does out on that sea, to see that progression between he and Corliss, because now they're going to battle together. So will he save Corliss's life one more time? Who knows? But I think that's a ripe situation for character progression on both of their parts now that they're heading out to the gullet together for this upcoming battle. All right, Casey, it's time. At number 12, I have Oscar Tully. I just loved Oscar Tully. Look, he was only in 2 episodes, but this is what you call making the most of your screen time, because Oscar Tully, he didn't have a lot of time, but he had a good time while he was in Harrenhal. The first time around, I was just like, this poor boy, like Damon is reading him to fail. The Damon is telling him to kill his grandfather, all this kind of mess. And then he came back with a vengeance. I lived for Oscar just reading Damon to the ground. He did not let that man breathe. Foot on the neck. He also took the reins of the entirety of the Riverlands in that one move. not giving in to Daemon Targaryen, and not letting, the Blackwoods just run amok with the Brackens. So it was great. He showed that he can be a great leader. He's very young. He can grow up to be just like a goat. As he gets older, I mean, Oscar Tully, he was an icon in his very limited time this season. Yes, Oscar Tully, the GOAT. Yes, I'm glad we're all in agreement that Oscar, he made the most of his one episode, baby. And I also just love that the Tullys are all named after Muppets. Grover, Oscar, we've got them all somewhere roaming around here. So, yeah, I mean, anybody who could own Damon like this for a whole episode, come on now. We have another one coming up who did a good job as well, but Oscar really got his ass. The Riverlands heard that Rhaenys was gone, so somebody needed to put Damon into place, and they took up the mantle quite nicely this season. All right, so just barely missing out of the top 10. Ooh, this might be a controversial choice, maybe. Tyler, if you're watching on playback or if you're hiding in the bushes, cover your ears. At number 11, just barely missing the top 10 this season, I have Daemon Targaryen. I know. Now, this is a huge fall. He was actually one of my favorite characters of season one. I thought they were doing a good job of depicting his character. He was rogue. He wasn't always making good choices, but he was interesting and fun. He added so much charisma and life to the script and the story. But man, season two, Daemon Targaryen. Again, I think part of this is book reader Larry getting in the way. It just wasn't the Daemon I know. This wasn't the Daemon I am accustomed to in my head that, I've read on the page. It wasn't the Daemon I knew from season one. He had a great start to the season. I thought episodes 1 and 2, oh, that scene with Rhaenyra, one of my favorite scenes in the entire season was him and Rhaenyra arguing after she finds out what he did with Blood and Cheese. It was so good. And I think that's part of what hurt Daemon so much this season. He wasn't with Rhaenyra, and they are such good screen characters together. Emma, Darcy, and Matt Smith, oh, they are electric on screen when they are together. And then once again in episode 8, Daemon back. He was ready. We got confirmation, I think, that he's a green seer. And did he predate Bridget Rivers? We don't know. Or, like, who did not Bridget Rivers, sorry. Did he predate the crazy one we're gonna meet in Duncan Egg as the three-eyed raven? That's a big theory I'm hearing from the fandom. And after episode 8, I can see it happening. But episode 8 was great for him, getting to see that vision of Daenerys and what was to come. And then finally bending the knee once more to Rhaenyra, which again, for all of his things in the book, it wasn't a lot of faltering. To Rhaenyra's side in the book like that. So him really doubting it, and it felt like a retread. So much these visions and his overall arc was okay, but the arc felt like a repeat of season one's arc. Does Daemon want the throne? Does he want the crown for himself? It's like we already kind of went through this, and I thought we resolved it, but apparently we didn't. And it would have been fine. The Harrenhal stuff started really good to me, and then it just kind of like drug on and on and on. It felt like we could have gotten his Harrenhal arc done in like 3 episodes rather than taking an entire season in Harrenhal. That vision with his mother, completely unnecessary. So yeah, I missed Rogue Prince, Rogue King Consort, as he was reminded this season. I wanted Rogue Consort running around, and we got a little bit of it. I mean, he would do his things, but I agree. That's like an Emmy reel right there. Those two, Emma and Matt, just killed it. So I'm excited that Damon's Harrenhal arc is done. Caraxes is excited that Damon's Harrenhal arc is done. And I'm ready to get, my badass Daemon Targaryen back next season. So as of this season, he faltered a little bit for me and fell down to number 11. Sorry, Nikita. All right, at number 10, I have Helena Targaryen. I love Helena. What can I say? Honestly, I was really kind of trying to I wanted her to be even a little bit higher than this on the ranking, but I just couldn't find a way to get her higher than this on the ranking. Well, how can you not love Helena? One of the truly innocent people of the show on either side. She is like the purest character in House of the Dragon right now. And I feel bad that things keep happening to her because of the people around her. Like, it's never of her own doing that all of this trauma has just been dumped onto Helena. It's because of what her family has gotten themselves involved with that all of this trauma is being dumped onto Helena. I felt horrible for Blood and Cheese. I thought that the acting in that scene was also really strong, though I do think the fallout from Blood and Cheese is a little bit muted. Anybody else feel that way? I felt like, we did the procession, the parade through the city of just the boy, and then nothing. Jaehaerys just died and we moved on. Nobody mentioned him again. We didn't see what's her name again either. I mean, she's been somewhere, but you would have thought they were clinging to that little girl for dear life after that trauma. So the fallout of Blood and Cheese wasn't enough, I don't think. But Helena as a character, I thought was really interesting. Of course, she has her prophetic dreams, and I don't really know what her power set is. Episode 8 really threw her powers up in the air. Like, I don't know how she's able to connect with Daemon in a green seer, like werewood vision. Also, she went from really cryptic, like visions, dragon dreams, to very descriptive ones where she knows exactly how Aemond Targaryen is about to die. She saw the future loud, like That's So Raven style. She saw it playing out loud and clear before her eyes. But that scene with Aemond in the finale, oh, she got his ass good. She got him good. And I lived for it. But getting to see, how much Alicent likes her compared to her boys, so good. So good. So I love Helena. She's innocent. She deserves the world. I just wish they wouldn't have retconned her also to not being a dragon rider. Yeah, she was. Let's go back to the book lore. She loved writing Dreamfire just to write her. Can we? She's a weird bug girl who has crazy magic dreams. Of course, she would love her dragon dream rider. It makes no sense. At least let her go down there and pet her. We all want to see Dreamfire, damn it. All right. So at number 9, I have Alicent Hightower. I'm very shocked at myself for putting Alicent this high. Once more, I mean, I've pretty much had to. When it comes to some of these characters, like Alicent specifically, I've had to throw the book away while watching this show because they have crafted a whole and fully, completely different character from Alicent that we knew in the book. This is just a completely different reiteration of her, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing because I think is made for some really interesting stuff in the show that we didn't get in the book. She's much more cut and dry evil to me, power hungry, grasping, like Rhaenyra said in the finale. That's what the book said, so I thought that was kind of a fun nod. But this season, there was a time where she was going the way of Daemon, where I thought, they don't know what to do with her right now. Like, she has no place in the story and she's just wandering. They are literally sending her off into the woods because they don't know what to do with this character. She's lost her position at court. She's lost any influence and power she's had, and she's lost in life. But overall, I find her arc very, very interesting. I like what they did. I really loved that scene between her and Rhaenyra in episode 8. Honestly, I know Emma D'Arcy is such a freaking good actor that pretty much anyone you put opposite them they kill it with. But wow, Emma D'Arcy has such electric chemistry with Matt Smith, and Emma D'Arcy has such electric chemistry with Olivia Cook. And oh, when they get to be together, like in that final scene of the season, basically, their final conversation, oh my God, they were so good. And both of them acted the hell out of that scene. But my problem still remains. Alicent is a hypocrite through and through, right down to that final conversation. So much of what she said, you get frustrated because it's like, ma'am, literally, Rhaenyra came to you earlier this season and asked you this exact same thing. Like, we already proposed what you want now. If you had listened then and at least tried to do something then, we could have prevented a lot of this. This whole season could have been prevented almost. But you didn't. You were cocky. You were arrogant. You thought you still had power. And there is something kind of poetically horrible about seeing the fact that she was perfectly fine letting misogyny crush Rhaenyra until it crushed her, until she saw that it could get her ass too. It would also consume her daughter Helena, the one character she cares about. And that's what really woke her up. I love that she wants to just take Helena, who once more showed her own like poor parenting when she was like, yeah, I was a lot happier before I became queen. And I think everyone here was a lot happier. You didn't have a crippled son. You had a grandson. Everybody was happier before you did what you did, Alicent. And she wants to just take her and get out. And I can respect it, to be honest. I can respect where Alicent ended up in this end of the season. I was shocked that she was ready to give Aegon up like that. That was wild, really wild, and it's going to cause a big conflict between Alicent and Rhaenyra again next season when Aegon's ass is out of there. But yeah, I don't know. She was a frustratingly very interesting character who I found myself agreeing with as she became more of a hypocrite against her own previous actions. So there we go. All right. So at number 8, I have Corlys Valerian. So Corlys is another one who really kind of tumbled down my ranking a little bit this season. Not because he did anything that I didn't like. He's still a great character and one of my favorite pieces on the chessboard. I love Corlys. It's just kind of a product of they didn't give him enough to do. Like, he just didn't have enough screen time. I wish we got more of Corlys in season 2. So every time he was on screen, he was great. I think Steven is amazing in this role, and I really enjoyed his dynamic, learning how to be a good parent, a good grandfather. I think that scene with Bela was amazing. Corlys, unfortunately for him, was on the receiving end of his best scenes. Like the best scenes Corlys was involved with were people laying it on to him, schooling him, rather than him getting to school other people. Compared to season 1, where he had so much wisdom and he had these great speeches and these great moments. This season, he was getting schooled left and right by people who were like, you need to step it up, man. Like, snap out of it and step up. But I love that he named his ship after Rhaenys. Oh, such a good moment. I'm glad he stepped up as the hand for Rhaenyra. He had his good moments. And I love him as a character. But yeah, we need more time at Corlys in season 3, Condal. You hear me? All right. So at number 7, I have Baela Targaryen. Another character that I really wish we had gotten more time with. She got moments to shine this season. As I just said, my favorite moment for Baela Targaryen this season was her jetting off to Driftmark and talking sense into her grandfather, being like, sir, this hand is here. you're not going to sit here and talk about my grandma and use her as a scapegoat. You're not going to sit here and feel sorry for yourself when, in a lot of ways, you were an absentee father and husband to them as well. Like, yeah, you were that, of course, to Adam and Alan. But in a lot of ways, I mean, he he wasn't an amazing father to his children that were highborn and that he did claim. He was gone a lot on his voyages. He always put his voyages first. And that's why it was so nice to see him name his ship after Rhaenys. But Bela really schooled him and talked some sense into him. Her other shining moment, obviously, was on the back of Moon Dancer. I just desperately wish she had burnt that forest up. I was like, damn it, Bela, just say the word, scream Dracarys, give us what we want, and burn Cole's ass to the ground right now. And then her last good scene for me, like the scene that really sealed it, was that moment with Jace. In a lot of ways, she's really a voice of reason for the men in her life right now. She was a voice of reason for Rhaenyra. I like the little moments we get with her and Rhaenyra, but I love the moments we get with her and Jace. And I thought her discussion with him was just like, just because these boys are common, that don't make me common. You must got it twisted, bitch, because I'm not coming any which way. But it was a great scene. Once again, talking sense into somebody who needed to stop sulking. So Bela's going to get you together. She's not going to let you feel sorry for yourself in the corner. And I can appreciate her for it. All right. At number 6, just outside of my personal top 5, I have Adam of Hull, the younger brother to Alan and the second unacknowledged bastard son of Corlys. I mean, I don't know. I liked Adam. I like Adam in the books. I like Adam in the show. I think they're doing a really great job at adapting him. I love that he has really had that struggle of literally not being acknowledged by Corlys. I mean, even throughout season 2, he's literally become a dragon rider at this point, and Corlys refuses to acknowledge a damn thing about him. So he has that chip on his shoulder, but that chip on his shoulder is not interfering. He's not out here acting a fool and acting crazy. He's the one stepping up for Rhaenyra. He's the one acting like he's got some damn sense to him out of these new little dragon seeds. So I can see also why our boy Sea Smoke chose him. Hey, Adam, I would choose you too. That is a pretty man there, Mr. Adam of Hull. So I've loved everything we've gotten with Adam. I want more screen time with him as well. Obviously, he's paired, if you watched my dragon ranking, with the dragon I absolutely adore, Sea Smoke, which makes it all the better. And he had the best dragon claiming scene for me. I don't know. I know everybody will probably say it was Vermithor's because Vermithor wrecked those folks. To me, it's still Sea Smoke claiming Adam for himself was like the best moment. One of the best scenes. That scene where he confronts, or Rhaenyra confronts him, was so good. He's great. He's a great character. I love that he's already sick of Ulf's shit too. And easily, without a doubt, 100%, Adam is the best dragon seed. Now, if we hadn't potentially, most likely, written Nettles out of the story, we would have a competition. But as it is, Adam clears 100. All right, so kicking off our top 5. At number 5, this might be a little bit low to people. I don't know. Y'all might not love that I have her this low, particularly because where did I have her in season 1? I had her at number 3 in season 1. She was one of my favorites in season 1. She was, obviously, she's number 5. One of my favorites this season too. But she's below some people maybe you wouldn't expect. At number 5, I have Rhaenys Targaryen. Now, Rhaenys this season obviously went out like an awesome badass G. She was keeping Rhaenyra grounded. She was basically Rhaenyra's hand for the first half of the season. However, I didn't always agree with, 1, her counsel, and 2, the writers, I think, did her a little bit weird. I won't say dirty, but her strategy in that battle was interesting, I'll say. I think she, like, when you watch the battle, she could have won it. Like, very easy. Like, she, even against both Sunfire and Vhagar, and she's supposed to be like more experienced and in it. So I salute the bravery, but I wish her like dragon attack was better. So that's ultimately what keeps Rhaenys down a little bit. Also, I think she preached maybe just a smidge too much caution. I compared it to, Tyrion and them with Daenerys in seasons 7 and 8, where it's like, okay, we get it. Like, at some point, though, this is a war. Like, at some point, though, we have to flex and we have to do something. We have to get more proactive. So, but ultimately, I mean, Rhaenys was a queen. She was a queen. She was the queen who should have been. She's an iconic character. I miss her dearly already. I think Rhaenyra's council room obviously was so much stronger with Rhaenys by her side. She was the one who fully believed in Rhaenyra. That was one thing I loved, is that even though they had their moments in season 1, we weren't sure how Rhaenys was going to feel, what she was going to do. Once she saw Rhaenyra as the leader she is, she fully supported that woman, and I gotta love her for it. So, plus that connection she had with Meleys, their moments together. Oh, I do love Rhaenys. I love her, and I miss her desperately. R.I.P. to a queen. All right, so kicking off our top 4, at number 4, I have Simon Strong. Look, he may not be as badass as Rhaenys. He may not have played nearly as big a part in the whole scheme of things, but my God, did I love Simon Strong. There was not one moment that man was on screen where he was not my favorite thing on the screen. He basically took over for Rhaenys. You know what I mean? He was giving Daemon the business as well, in very subtle, very respectful ways all season long. That king consort moment, was one of the best moments of the season for me. I just lived for it. His sass, his subtle shade, and his devotion to Queen Rhaenyra. He saw Broomstick go out there with Daemon and start scheming. He ran to the Raven like that and said, "Get Rhaenyra here, quick. Y'all ain't gonna plan this treachery on my watch, not while Sir Simon Strong is in the house." He's amazing. I love him. I love him so much. He was one of the standouts of season 2. We didn't get a lot of backstory with him, but we didn't need it. He was just everything. So, Simon Strong, sir, thank you for doing the work this season, keeping us entertained in Damon's Luigi's Mansion storyline for all of those episodes long. And I'm glad you survived the season to see it to season 3. And I can't wait to get more Simon Strong next season. All right. So our top 3. I struggled with this top 3, particularly 2 and 3. Number 1 wasn't that hard of a choice for me, as you'll see. But a lot of these characters, really, like 2 through 5, were a toss-up where I was going to put them. But I think the character work they did with character number 3 really bumped her up for me. So at number 3, I have Mysaria, the White Worm. Now, I know Hannah cannot stand this actress, thinks she is absolutely terrible. I don't think she's as bad as Hannah says, but I just think the character has been amazing in season 2. What they did with Mysaria this season was so good. I don't blame Rhaenyra for basically making Mysaria the de facto hand, her number 1 advisor, her original OG right now. After Rhaenys left, Mysaria stepped in and said, "I'm going to go ahead and take over." Now, from what we've seen of Mysaria so far in the show, you can't fully trust her. And I think a lot of the season I was still very on the fence. But by the end of the season, she's got me convinced too. I mean, I'm there. I think the White Worm won. Woo, that sexual tension between her and Rhaenyra was palpable right off the bat. From the first time we saw those two meet, I could feel it. The gaydar was going off the charts. um, but Miss Arya has given her great advice, has given her plans that have really helped put her back in this game. She's giving her actions to put into place that are actually helping her in this war, not hurting her, not having her just sit here, but also, yeah, not like her counsel who's just advising her to go start burning places with no discretion. She is a woman who championed the small folks and the regular people of King's Landing in season 1. She pushed Otto Hightower in season 1 to shut down the children fighting pits. So you know that is, even if she is a little bit sneaky, kind of like Varys in this sense, that she is sneaky, she is scheming, but I think at her core, Miss Arya is somebody who is with her people, which are the lowborn people who have been stepped on and trampled on. And I believed her in her speech where she said, "You are Holdfast, Rhaenyra, and that's why I support you. Not because of your name, not because you're the chosen heir, not even because you were the named heir, but because of what I've witnessed myself, the grace you've shown me, the grace you've shown the entire realm, and so I support you, and I'll do whatever I can to see you on that Iron Throne." So I love what they did, and I love that we got that moment between Miss Arya and Rhaenyra too. So hi, Dimension. I'm so glad you made it in. I don't know, how far are you in the season so far? Since we just concluded, how far did you make it? I don't know if there might be spoilers talked about here if you haven't gotten through the whole season yet, okay? um, but Miss Arya, you're number 2, girl, or number 3, girl. Just missing out on that number 2 spot. And this one was really hard. I flip-flopped on which one I was going to put at number 2. But I just have a soft spot for my pretty, pouty prince. Yeah, Jacaerys Valerian is my number 2. um, I love Jace. I've always loved Jace. I think he would make an amazing king. I think he has been a really strong leader for his mother while she's out, learning from his mother from an early age. I understood a lot of his gripes this season, particularly the one about the dragon seeds. I understand it was his idea to begin with to get dragon seeds and we needed more riders, but once he explained it to Rhaenyra, it was like, well, that makes perfect sense. I mean, his claim has already been under fire. He's watched his mom's claim be under fire because of his existence. He watched his brother Luke's claim be under fire last season. Once you have more dragon riders, I mean, yeah, his claim is going to come under fire 100%. We already saw it with Ulf immediately upon Ulf getting that damn dragon. He trusts Jace's instinct when it comes to this man. Ulf, burn his ass. Jace is tired of that fool. But he's pretty. He's pouty. He got us the twins. I mean, see, he's also been making moves that actually are doing something. He got us the twins. The Starks are coming down. He secured the Stark alliance for us. He also secured the Veil, which is what he went off to do at the end of season 1. Even though Jane Eyre, Lord, I don't know. But Jace, you're a goat. You're an icon. You're the prettiest prince the realm has ever seen. And I can't. The only thing I say is I wish we would have gotten more time with Prince Jacaerys and his boyfriend Kragon Stark up in the north. Mm-hmm. I wish we would have really seen how he forged that alliance. I know he's betrothed to Baela, and we love him and Baela together. That's the other thing I wish we would have got more time with him and Baela. Cut out that damn Daemon with his mom's dream and replace it with a Jace and Baela scene. Give me at least a couple more scenes with Jace and Craig and Stark. But other than that, Jace was great and a little bit bratty this season, but I can like a brat, right? I can like a little bit of a socialite brat. What can I say? Leave poor Luke alone. Damn it, Pat. Luke was just a little child with his little baby dragon. Damn it. Well, that leaves, probably to no one's surprise, my number 1, my favorite character of season 2, was easily still Rhaenyra Targaryen. She got the most screen time this season, and for good reason. I think she was great. Everything about what they did with Rhaenyra for me was mostly great. I think they have laid the seeds of what a good ruler she would be at this exact time. So if everything had just gone to plan, the realm would have been in great hands with Rhaenyra Targaryen. That has been made evident. As we see, as we move forward, obviously that last episode, we start to hear the war is pushing for more drastic measures. We're having to up each other. We're having to do things that have not been part of her plan, that she's been desperately trying to avoid for so long. Using dragons. What happened? The first moment she was forced to use dragons, Rhaenys dies. We lose a dragon. Now she's having to send dragons out once more to civilian populated areas, which she has been fighting, hoping, desperately trying not to do for this entire time. So it just really showcases, and I think they've done a great job of showcasing her evolution of having to go to places she didn't want to go and she didn't think she would need to go for what she believes is a greater purpose. I also think it's very interesting that they've made her really kind of lean into prophecy and religion in that sense, like the old Targaryen religion and prophecy, and using that as her guidance and her basis for what she does. It makes for a very interesting arc to her character and where she might go from here. I loved her with Massaria, as I said. You better go get Damon's ex-girlfriend. I love her with Jace. I love her with Bela. Emma D'Arcy. Y'all, if Emma D'Arcy does not get nominated again for a MF and Emmy, I'm going to rage, because Emma was once again so fantastic. Even in episode 1, where they had one line, of dialogue. Emma was so freaking good in that first episode. Oh, that grief as she looked and found Luke's dragon remains and accepted her son's death. Oh, it was so good. But she's been an amazing character. I love getting to see her get more feisty, slap Saltagar across his ugly old mane, and yeah, become a little bit more proactive in this war as season 2 finally went on. Now, Missaria obviously has softened some of her resolve, because she was very much on the same page as Luke. As Jace. She's like, we're not letting no damn bastards or peasants jump on dragons. Are you crazy, girl? We are royalty and the blood, the chosen blood. And then she's like, well, actually, all right. You know what? They want to say bastards. Let's make a scene of bastards then, huh? She also had the 2 most badass shots of the season, or 2 of, I should say, with her standing in front of Vermithor when she turned around. Oh my gosh. And then that scene, obviously, with Vermithor behind her, Cyrax popping up to yell, and we saw Silverwing in the distance as she stood and stared Aemond down. So good. So she's the main character, Rhaenyra, and rightfully so. I know some people think it's a little bit biased towards the Blacks and Rhaenyra, but I would argue the show has made everybody just a little bit softer and more complex, because I think a lot of the Greens have been given a lot of grace and have been softened a lot from their book counterparts. Alicent, particularly, I think Aemond in season 1, they really softened him. Even Aegon, I think in some ways they have softened. So I think they've softened a lot of people in the story. Rhaenyra is one of them. I do think they've softened her up from the book as well. But it's made for some really interesting characters. And Rhaenyra is still the queen of the queens and the deserving heir of the Iron Throne. Team Black, period. So that was my ranking of all of the characters from season 2 of House of the Dragon. Obviously, I missed a couple, like Eric and Eric. Some of these minor characters I mentioned, Craig and Stark, but he was only in 1 episode. So if they were only in like 1 episode or 2 episodes maybe, and they didn't do anything, then I just decided not to include them. I probably could have included Eric, but it is what it is. He would have been probably somewhere in the middle for being an icon and being in one of the most devastating scenes of the season. But that was it. That was my ranking. Queen Rhaenyra reigns supreme, and incel boy Kristen Cole is still the worst, and that's how it's gonna be. So if you were in the chat, thank you all so much. Pat, Dominicion, everybody who stopped by and were sharing their thoughts. And Nikita, as we went along, X, Let's Play Pretend. thank you all so much for joining in, talking about these characters as we unveiled our ranking. If you're watching this after the fact, make sure to leave your ranking in the comment section down below. I want to see how you rank the characters in terms of what they were doing and how they behaved in season 2. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos, including reactions to A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm so excited for that Dunk and Egg series. It looks super fun, and it's going to be a nice kind of lighter reprieve, I think, from the darkness of House of the Dragon moving forward. Plus, obviously, season 3 of House of the Dragon coming when it comes. So I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.